Ministries International in the Division of World Cultural Studies, which has an Institute of Global Intercultural Studies. So it is this institute that has co-hosted this event with Divine Touch Ministries.
Amen.
We started working together with Divine Touch Ministries since 2004. And what brought our institute with Divine Touch Ministries was its concern for the restoration of family. As an institute, we deal with conflicts in the community. We have dealt with the black and brown conflicts and so forth. And what we are trying to do is to make sure people can develop a collective family. So with this mentoring program, we discovered that there is so much need.
Yes, it is.
To mentor our young people, to mentor families, and to ensure that if they have any need for help, then we are able to cater for them. What we have, young people cannot make it just growing up. There are so many, they can get misdirected. They can just feel a sense of hopelessness, a sense of lack of love.
That's right.
That happens when you are growing up. Sometimes there is a sense of confusion. What can I be? What do I want to be? How do I define myself? So it has been the goal of these two organizations which have come together to look at this key issue. And we have understood that we have to look at breaking mental and spiritual chains. Because without breaking the chains that hold our minds and the chains that our spirit, we cannot even build. I'm sure there are people here who have experienced year in, year out, that they feel like they are stuck. They feel like they can't move. They feel that they cannot make any progress. You have no inspiration, no motivation. And we understand that there are chains that are on your mind, there are chains that are on your spirit. And we have to break those chains in order for you to begin to see the direction forward. Mentors do anchor you. Mentors stabilize you. All the youthful energy that you have requires to be rooted. It requires to be stabilized because it can run wild. I'm sure you know it. Once it runs wild, you can get hurt, and then you spend the rest of your life doing damage control. Sometimes you miss on so many opportunities. I just want to share with you one statement. This oppression, and what is an African-American writer, James Baldwin, who was country because he could not survive at that time. His talent and skills could not survive. He wrote a letter to his nephew. He had to be a mentor away from home. He had to mentor them. And he said, the details and symbols of your life have been deliberately caused to perish in the ghetto, never being allowed to spell your proper name. Never being allowed to know who you are.
Amen.
There are people who proudly proclaim, I am ghetto, they love it. But what they begin to confuse is their identity and their condition. Sometimes we get stuck in our condition, whether it is spiritually or materially or mentally. We get stuck. Our condition is as if it is us. We don't separate ourselves from our condition. So it's important. I started with oppression because I just want to show you what happens when people misdirect you. When people confuse you about yourself.
Amen.
So that when we know exactly what needs to be done. Let me give you an example of the people that was created by Albert Schweitzer. He was a missionary who went to various places. This is what he said. He said, the Negro is a child. And with children, nothing can be done without the use of authority. With regards to the Negroes, then I have coined the formula, I am your brother, it is true, but I am your elder brother. Now, I want to demonstrate to you how that image that was created has gotten started. Because under oppression, black people were not supposed, and other people of color were not supposed to grow from childhood to adulthood. Because once they became adults, they would think for themselves and do things for themselves. And challenge the system, so they were supposed to remain children, never allowed to grow up. Notice what has happened over the years. We used to be called boys and girls. You know, I remember my father, if he met some white girl, would be called with my father. My father was a boy, I was a boy. She was supposed to remain a child. Have you listened to how our men speak today? Boys and girls, we always refer to each other. I'm going to be with my boys. Boys are key. Manifest. We like toys, cars, and so forth, big toys, and so forth. You know, when we buy toys for children, they want them big.
That's right.
We get conditioned, our mind has been starved.
That's right.
Carter G. Woodson said that if you control a human being's mind,
That's right.
you don't have to worry about where they are, what they are going to be. There's somebody at the door. Somebody go. You don't have to worry about where they are going to be, because they are going to act exactly when you control their mind. You don't have to be there, enter the house through the front door, they have to use the back door. You don't have to be there to direct them. They will look for the back door. If there is no back door, they will create one for their own convenience.
Okay.
Because their mind is controlled.
That's right.
Until it is free, they don't think for themselves. So it's important to understand all this. Young men talk about, I'm going to the crib. That's where a baby is kept. They talk about, we don't even think about it when they say that, but what they are saying is they have remained children. Right. They have remained children in their mindset, and they speak it to their spirit. So they get stuck.
Amen.
Young people, you know, children, boys and girls, play with other people's emotions.
Yeah.
They love to play with other people's emotions. They know when to act up. When you can't do anything, they will act up and drive you crazy. At your home, they will be nice. And as we, you know, what has happened when your mind is controlled and it remains at the level of a child, you abuse them because you have not grown from boyhood to manhood, from a child to an adult. So it is important that we begin to understand where we are as we deal with this situation. Let me give you another example. When people internalize their inferiority, people look the way other people look at us. Look at what happens. Thomas Jefferson said, never yet could I find that a black had uttered a thought above the level of plain narration. Never saw an elemental trait of painting or sculpture. Black people were inferior. And all the colonized and oppressed people were regarded inferior. Because for somebody to oppress, he has to dehumanize you, to take away that you have a mind. That has to be taken away from you. Now you are easy to control.
That's right.
Anybody who has no spiritual freedom or mental freedom is easy to manipulate.
That is true.
It's easy to control. If you think of abusive relationships, what do they start with? Finding fault.